spent the day yesterday at Camp Syker, which is a Christian family camp that I have grown up to going every summer of my life, except this summer, thanks to COVID-19. And so, like many in our Syker family, it breaks my heart that we won't be there. And the biggest reason for me that it's hard, well, there's a long list of reasons it's hard not to be there, but the biggest one is that's the place where I learned about one of the greatest blessings of living out of my belovedness as God's son. It's where I learned about this blessing of deep relationships, or what we often refer to around here as accountable community. Camp Syker and the relationships I formed there, especially during my teen years, forever ruined me for superficial relationships or friendships that stay on the surface in any way. And I was there yesterday praying and giving thanks for those relationships, but reflecting about how that experience shaped me to live out of my belovedness. And I thought of two things, really. First of all, that deep relationships, accountable community, it provides the context where we receive the good news of our belovedness. It's what people at camp did for me when I was young, and they loved me in my weakness, in my imperfections. They saw more in me than I saw in myself. They walked with me through hard times. They risked being vulnerable and opened themselves up. I'm thinking of a camp counselor, Steve, that he just opened up his life to a bunch of teenage kids and showed us what this depth of relationship looks like. And so I would tell you this, if you struggle to live out of your belovedness, for that to kind of be the ground of your identity and your everyday living, then deep relationships, forging an accountable community, this is God's gift offered to you for you to discover the good news about who you really are as a beloved child of God. The other thing that I would say is that this blessing of deep relationships, it also it overflows out of our belovedness. We see it in the life of Jesus. It's no mistake in the Gospel of Matthew that he's baptized at the end of chapter 3, and by the end of chapter 4, Jesus calls his first disciples into relationship with himself. This experience of belovedness that Jesus heard the Father say, "You are my beloved Son, I'm well pleased with you." That it's so life-giving that it overflows. It must be shared with others. That's why Jesus said a little bit later in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, he says, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love." This connection between receiving the good news of our belovedness and sharing it with others. It's such good news that if we're not living out of that reality, if we're not intentionally pursuing those kind of deep relationships, I would say this, we're missing out. We're missing out on receiving that we're beloved. We might not even know the full depth of God's love for us as beloved children, but it will stunt our growth. We will not move forward consistently living out of our belovedness as God's children. So here's the final word. The invitation for us this week, I just want to encourage you, be intentional to live into this blessing of deep relationships, of accountable community. These kinds of relationships never happen by accident. So whatever it looks like this week, pick up the phone, send a text, carve out some time to connect with somebody. Take a next step intentionally this week to receive the gift of your belovedness through deep relationships.